Good morning and welcome to another Verbling class. Today's class is about conversation. Students will talk about pretty well any topic. Coffee talk, small conversations, or we can talk about big issues, or seasonal changes, global warming, elections, movies. That all depends on what the students want to talk about when they arrive in the class. We'll get started shortly. Ah, there you are, Wellington.
Hello, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. Two of my favorite Brazilians are here today.
Yeah, good to see you.
Good to see you too. I'm back at work. We'll start to see a normal schedule from me soon. I'm looking at replacing my computer, so I can't do a lot of classes while I'm looking at changing computers.
Okay. I need to do it.
Yeah, me
Just
too.
change.
Well, terrific, Wellington. Good to see you. Hello, Raphael.
Hello, Simon.
It's been a few weeks.
Weeks? I think it's more, a little more, maybe months. I don't even know I don't remember the last time I had a class with you.
Yeah, it's been a while for me too. It's good to be back. I love these classes, especially Saturday morning. Um, the only problem is sometimes I want to go someplace and I have to wait till 11, but I really do enjoy this class, this time slot.
Me too.
Amp, good morning.
Hi, teacher. Welcome back.
Thank you, thank you. I think you'll start to see more classes from me beginning later this week.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, I have to pay for the new laptop I'm buying.
Really?
Yeah, well, this one's about 3 years old. It's still in good shape, so I want to sell it while it's still in good condition and then get a new one. So you need reliable equipment when you're teaching.
And what about your internet issues are ready?
Well, that's what I'm
Right.
hoping to find out today. How are you guys finding it? Let me know if there's any dropped frames. I've made some work. That's one of the reasons why I've been away. Um, I seem to be having no problems.
Yeah.
You guys are clear, crisp. Everything sounds good.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. And toes. All right. Thank you, Amp. Good morning, Anna.
Good morning, Simon. Nice to see you.
Good to see you. How are you today?
I'm happy to be in your class.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you're here. It's a cold day here this morning. It's 57 degrees, which means we're heading towards fall and you're heading towards summer or the wet season.
It's raining here too.
Yeah, great. I love rain. Rain's awesome. And who else? David. I see David and Jose's joined us. David, good morning, sir.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm good. You sound like you're 10 feet away from your microphone.
How does it sound now?
It sounds better now.
Good. Well, good morning.
Yes, good morning. It's been a few weeks, David. I haven't been teaching a lot of classes lately.
Why is that?
Couple of reasons. One, I've been having problems with internet, and I wanted to make sure that the issues were resolved, so I've done some work. Two, I'm looking at replacing my laptop, so I can't book a lot of classes if I'm going to be without a computer for a little bit of time.
Oh, I see. Are you gonna have a Mac?
I do have a Mac, yes. I'm using a MacBook Air.
Oh, well, that's a new one, isn't it?
Well, it's about 3 years old, so I was surprised when I looked at selling it yesterday. You still get a good bit of money for it, so.
Yeah, it still is on. So how do you like it?
I tend to find that with the Macs that they seem to be a bit quicker when you want to do something. There's no delay,
Right.
even when they're busy. But I don't know. I just find them a little bit more polished. I'd say the main difference between Windows and Apple is, with Apple, you just felt like they spent a bit more time making sure the bugs are out of it. It's not
That's
perfect,
right. But it's
and it's
damn
cheaper.
good.
Yeah, and I find them cheaper too.
Cheaper? Apple cheaper?
Yeah,
Really?
not to purchase, but the cost of ownership. So,
Oh, I
like
see.
software, I don't have to buy software like equivalent of Microsoft Office. That's free on the Apple. You get a lot of your video software free, and whenever they do updates, you don't pay for a new update to the operating system. So,
That's right. That's right. But most people now are using Google Drive as instead of Microsoft because you can collaborate with
yeah,
other
I
people.
don't use any of those.
Oh, it's very, very good. I'm telling you, it's really, really good. Give it a
Privacy, my
try.
friend. But you know
Oh,
what? Me and David are taking too much talk time. I know some of you are
yeah, I'm
going like,
sorry.
wait a minute. So I would love to start a conversation, guys, talking about privacy, using the cloud, and maybe even buying a new computer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by giving you guys about, let's say, 2 minutes of talk time. I've got my timer here. That's my calculator. All right, that's my timer. Like I said, 2 minutes. And I'm going to start with David. Now, David, I'm going to give you a minute and a half because we already spent a bit of time. But tell me, what are your thoughts on computer? What computer should I get if I replace this one?
I think Mac, the MacBook, the Mac Air, whatever it is, Mac is very good. It's very functional. It's just, as you just mentioned, it's fast. It's easier to. It's gonna user friendly, and they also a lot of applications. I also use a lot of the Google Drive now because I collaborate with other people. Could be not only personal stuff but also professional stuff. It's very, very good. In terms of security or privacy, well, anything that you put on the internet is already public. So if you keep that in mind, you will be fine. So be careful what you put on online because it's going to be public, and in the future and if it's something wrong, in the future may come and hunt you. So I guess that's what I do. I just keep in mind that everything that I put in line is already public, and somebody will see it sooner or later. So that's my peace of mind, I guess.
Well, David, are you aware that Google reads your emails?
Yes, I know that. And I know also that Google, for example, with this Google Drive system, which is almost all teachers are using it because I can send something to you, we can work together, not only with you but also my students too. And we know that sooner or later they're gonna start charging for that service too. But
They might or they might not. Thank you for your time. All right, we're going to go to Jose next. And Jose, so I'm aware that Google reads my messages, so I don't use Google Gmail for anything. I also don't send emails to people who have messages or email systems that read their email, or I might just send them a message, call me. Because I do not like the idea that companies are listening into what I do. So I think Google's great for searching, but I still store my documents on my computer. Although this is a nod to David, I am using Apple's cloud because from everything I've read so far, it's secure. The FBI is even looking at suing Apple or charging them because Apple's not allowing them access. So if the US government is having trouble gaining access to Apple's cloud, I feel pretty safe until that changes. How do you feel about your privacy online, Jose?
Okay, I'll try to give an explanation about it. I don't have a high knowledge about this subject, but I think that when you send information to a server, I think is not a 100% safety. someone could steal your information from the globe. I think it's not the fiability is not 100%. It's not a 100%. Someone could steal the information, but I think you have to put into the cloud information that if someone steals the information, you don't have to worry so much about it. I think you, I think you shouldn't put information about your case of your account bank or something like that, because could steal this kind of information. I think nowadays all the people around the world are using clothes. Uh, I know several brands of clothes. I know Google Cloud, Apple Cloud. I think there are a lot of companies offering this kind of new services, because if you go to another place, you can get the information very quickly. You don't need.
Thank you.
Okay.
I think this is a great topic.
Yes.
Let me think. And I want you guys to think as well, because a lot of us, I'm a little older, so I value privacy a bit more. Some of us who are younger say, what's the big deal? Well, keep in mind, I want you to think about this.
Okay.
The reason why Google and others offer free services is because they make money off you, your information. They target ads, they do other things. So keep in mind that your information and you is worth money. Okay? And what you've got to decide is, well, wait a minute, how much am I actually worth? Is it worth getting this free service, or would it be better for me to pay a certain amount a month to have my privacy? Identity theft. Is that a concern? To most people it isn't, until their identity has been stolen. So now we're going to go to Raphael. And Raphael, I'm going to give you 2 minutes, and I'm not going to tell you what to talk about, Raphael, but I want to know what you're thinking based on this conversation. Go ahead, please.
Yes, because you've mentioned that these free services, they are prone to start to see or to look into your information. But who can guarantee that these paid services doesn't do the same? I believe that they can also be searching your information if they are needed. No one is able to guarantee they're not doing this. So, well, I'm not younger as you. I'm not younger either. So, but I understand that since I don't have anything to hide, I don't have anything any closed information, or I don't upload private pictures or private documents on the internet. I'm not even sending emails with that. Since I'm not too much worried about it, but it's just my point of view. I don't think at least for me, it's not a problem. But I know several people who upload everything on the internet, sending emails and these documents, private documents. It's quite complicated, but at least for me, I don't have any issues with that.
No issues. Okay.
No.
So I've just posted some things I've written. Probably many of you have heard about Ashley Madison, and some of you might snicker, it's your own fault. Well, no. See, here's the real issue with this story. This was a site, we'll call it a dating site for lack of a better term. And they promised their members privacy and security. They also promised to delete information. Well, what was clear is this site didn't. So how many other sites are doing the same thing? How many other sites have poor security? Is your information at risk? Home Depot in the United States lost credit card records, and they've just settled a deal with the banks for something like 90 million US dollars, or about 270 million reals. Durham region, close to where I live, lost a USB stick with patient records on it. Well, that's probably cost into the tens of millions. So people do value their privacy once they've lost it. Wellington, what do you think?
It's a good problem. Here in Brazil, the people say that the banks here, the banks have a good technology, better than US, better than other places. The people say that the security, use credit card here is safer than in other places. In United States, for example, it's necessary to put the signature to use the credit card. Here, not. Here, we use a password, and I think we have the companies have ways to improve the security, but like Rafael said, even if a company promises that you be safe your information, codes, etc., even this company can use the information, can sell the information for other companies. If we find on internet, you can find our identification. It's complicated. I think now we can believe in anyone.
Thank you. Well, it is difficult, and let's use the Ashley Madison example and think of a proper dating site like Match.com or something that's very noble. Now imagine you're having a conversation on there, you're talking, and years down the road, you're married, and all of a sudden this is leaked. Now imagine your spouse finds out about these conversations. Now it's questionable as to when these conversations were heard. Now to you, obviously it was in the past, right? But keep in mind, when information is leaked, it doesn't have all the information. You may not know when it was, and that can still create problems. Or maybe what you talked about could create problems. Banking information, your credit card record could get stolen, but that may not be a problem for several years, but could make it difficult for you to travel, get a passport. Adela, what do you think about online privacy and be able to trust people who provide free services online?
I'm not very worried about the security or privacy in internet. Why? Because if even I will be thinking about that, finally I didn't use any page because you need to share with the friends. You have a Facebook page. We use the Gmail. For example, I have different accounts to the company, personal, etc. But I redirect all them to Gmail. Finally, I have all my contacts, all my life. Mr. Google now all about me. I think is not possible to control that. I try to have a lot of privacy using the possibility to Google offer the account, offer the Gmail, but finally I don't think about that because it's crazy. It's
Adela,
not
I love Gmail. I love Yahoo Mail. I think it's very accessible. I like it. At least with Yahoo, I was able to turn off some of that targeted stuff. I'm trying to think of the other services that I like that are free. Now, because I have a Mac, I use a lot of what Apple provides. It's what we call a gated community or a private garden. And I feel safe because there have been no hacks, because the NSA, the FBI are both hammering Apple saying, look, we need access, and they can't give it. Apple says we don't have the ability unless they recode how everything works. So I feel a little bit safer, but I'm still careful what I put in there. If I have financial documents, I don't save them to the cloud. I save them on, well, somewhere not online. So I am cautious. I have identity theft insurance, where the insurance company will remedy, they'll fix, they'll cover the costs. But it does concern me. I don't post my photos on Facebook. I don't post anything on Facebook, let alone vacation photos, because by posting a photo of you being on vacation, you're letting people know you're not home, especially thieves that could gain access. So
yes,
AMP, yeah. So AMP, what do you think of this interesting subject?
Well, I think that, for example, the emails are very useful, but it's important that you have to know what you can share or what you cannot share on these emails. Generally, for example, information about the number of your credit card or other private information, I avoid to do it. If I have to say an information like that, I prefer to do it personally. And but nowadays, for example, because of we are saving paper, trying to protect the environment, all your invoice just appears in your email, because it's the only way that we have now. Everything is electronic, and yeah, invoice from your restaurants. Even when they are not all the numbers there, well, it's something risky about your address, your full name, your ID number. All of these days, all of this information is there. The credit card number is not, but all the information is there. So there are, well, many services, like for example WhatsApp. This week he have just the information that 200 million people was in risk because a fail on their system. So probably not right now you say, well, I haven't feel something wrong in my account, but you don't know about the future. Probably they just keep the information, and then after a while, when you have forgotten, they can act. So
Thank you, AMP. Now, before I give, let's see, AMP, no, sorry, I'm losing track. Yeah, AMP, you were just speaking, right?
yep.
Yeah, you know, you get old, and trust me, some of you may do this already. Like, I'll walk upstairs, and I've already forgotten why I walked upstairs after a few seconds. So it's not that I don't pay attention to you guys. It's just like, I just forgot. Okay, so I want to talk to you guys about something very important. Since Anna's had a chance, next round you're going to have a conversation with each other. So I want to teach you something. Now, I'm a teacher as a part-time job. In my regular job, I work in information technology. I serve as a senior business analyst in 2 roles, as a business architect and as a project manager. Security is very important to us at our firm. And too many people make the mistakes of passwords. And probably most of you here have bad passwords. I'm going to talk to you about something called 2-byte passwords. I'm going to try to spell it correctly first. All 2-byte passwords simply means is they're about 16 letters long, or characters. Now you're thinking, I can't remember the one I've got now. Well, here's what I do. I don't try to come up with these stupid complex passwords such as this. That's ridiculous. Nobody remembers that. I think that's stupid. Only technical people think of that. I'll come up with a password like this. Look at that. Now what I've actually written is a sentence, but a sentence that doesn't make sense. For those of you that took my memory class years ago, what do we remember? We remember things that are completely ridiculous or bizarre or strange. Okay? So when I think of something I want to remember a password, I want to make it about 16 characters long. I've got a capital there, but look, it's at the beginning of a sentence, and that's where we normally put a capital. I've got a special character, and look, it's at the end of the sentence. And it's a period or a punctuation mark. We could use exclamation points or question marks. And I put a number after it. That password would take, I think, millions of years to guess. Now don't put your name in it, don't put your children's names in it, because that will make it a little easier. Use passwords that are long, and think of a funny sentence. Trust me, you'll remember it a lot better. And it's a hell of a lot more difficult to crack. All right, so I'm going to give you guys, let's see, 1, 2, 3, we have 4 pairs. 4 minutes is 16 minutes it takes us yet. We've got time. So I'm going to give you 4 minutes apiece. The last time I did this, even that was not enough time. You've all participated before. But as a reminder, it's only 4 minutes. So don't take a minute or two talking. Try to talk for 10 or 20 seconds before you turn it over to your classmate. Now, if your classmate is taking too much time, politely interrupt and let them know. I'll also do the same. So we're going to start with Adela and Amp. And I would like to give you guys the freedom to talk about anything you want related to the topic today. Anna, did you not have a chance? You haven't. I thought you had. See, my bad memory. So before we do that, then I'm going to give Anna a chance to talk for 2 minutes. Anna, how do you feel about teachers who forget to give you your turn?
I feel very sad this time, Mom. I was almost crying. Oh
we don't want that.
Because I was one of the first students to arrive in your class. You greeted me, you asked everyone, and you simply forget me.
Well, you've got to remember, I'm 45, I've got a bad memory, and I appreciate Amp sending me the message. It was private, but no, shout that stuff out, guys, because I want to make sure everybody has a chance, and sometimes I do forget. So, Anna, go ahead. Tell me what's on your mind.
Okay, I think internet is very dangerous, but the problem is that we love surfing online and to have a bunch of followers in our social network. And, well, privacy issues these days are really dangerous. It can ruin your credit, expose personal information, allow someone to steal your credit, inquire information about your online habits, and the government has been involved in web privacy issues because I believe it's for security, because privacy has been an issue also on the government's website. There are plenty of hackers online, and and once you post something, there is no way to delete and people can change it and it can harm your reputation and so forth. And once I found a service online that can track people, and there was some testimonials there, and one person had found her biological dad using this kind of service. So it's very scary because stalkers
All right.
can
Thank
find.
you. I let
Thank
you
you,
run
thank
over a little bit, Anna, because I did some talking there, but it is a very important topic. Very, very important. And this is not a sensational as some of the other topics we've had, but it's very important. And that password tip I gave you guys, really think about it. Seriously think about it. Okay, so now we're going to go to the conversation time, and I'm going to give Amp and Adela 4 minutes. So ladies, you may start. I would start off with some introductions. No, Anna, and you're going to be next after this. Trust me, you're going to be next after this. And you know what? Next time, don't cry. Just let me know, hey, you forgot me, teacher, because I don't do it out of malice. You guys should know that. All right. Adela and Amp, go ahead, please.
Adela.
Hello,
Yes,
you are post, you are post, no? Same on the Berlin about spying people, government.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, actually, yeah.
You think that you think all people is the governments spy all governments, or but only in this case, a specific case?
Well, nowadays in my country there is a problem about this. There are a place where the journalists have researched that the government just is listening to conversations of the people who belongs to the other party. So if they can do that, to whom you are going to complain? Because unfortunately, all the powers here are under the same party of the government, so you don't have a
But
place.
sometimes, yeah, sometimes, for example, in Spain or in other country, I say they talk about the terrorism problem. They need to control the communication because they after that they have the dates, the information about the groups, etc. They sell us the safety about this
Yeah, but I think
spy.
yeah, but in this case, it's just because they belong to the party that is the opposition, and well, I think that there is no justification for that. Probably you can find another way to try to, if there are some groups like you said. Fortunately in my country there is not yet, but in this case it's just political. It's believe me, it's just against the medias, the because they say that the press is against the government, and then is when a lot of restrictions, even they have closed accounts of people in Twitter or Facebook or something.
And sometimes the control is about countries to another countries because they say about the United States spy the European
Like WikiLeaks.
countries,
Yeah.
no, the European leaders.
Yeah,
For
European
example, I think is anything is private.
Yeah,
Any people.
Not nobody is safe if we are using internet. There are many hackers that just work for the people that hire them. Yeah.
Yes.
And it's easy to steal to crack the password, and the
Yes,
information
and
is not completely safe.
yes. But I think I worry for me is the teenagers on the
Yeah,
internet, because
yeah.
sometimes they don't have the idea about that is not
Yeah,
right.
they share a lot of information. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. Sometimes it's not so good.
Thank you.
Photograph. Okay.
All right. Next, we have Anna. Let me see. Is that correct? So we got Anna and David. Yes, we have Anna and David. So continuing on the topic of safety online, and if you guys think of anything that's good, like the 2-byte password or other things you can do to protect your safety, let's look at some of the positives as well. So guys, you've got 4 minutes. Go ahead, please.
Anna, go ahead.
No, please, I'd like to give you the floor.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Well, I believe that when the internet was created, everybody was so happy to have internet, or everything's going to be faster and easier and everything else. But we were not able to foresee that anything that we create, or that we discover, in fact, can be used for good purposes and bad purposes. So the internet is inevitable. It's going to be used for hackers, people who want to damage other people, and that's a fact. So we need to create a system. If we want to create a system to protect us, then we have to think about that, because it's impossible with the what we have now. It's impossible to believe that nobody's going to get hurt. I mean, secure. Go ahead. Sorry.
I totally agree with you, but in my opinion, some people are still happy with the internet, and some people are not aware yet of the dangers. And I don't know how uh, they can protect us from hackers, because they've been invading even government pages and company pages and
Right. Because I mean, the government companies have been using our information for years, but it was subtle and it was slower because they didn't have the tools. Now they have the tools. So I mean, I'm not surprised. I mean, I'm not naive to say, oh, is this happening now? It's not happening now. It happens all over. Look at history. You know, it happens through history all the time. So I think what happened is we just create a system that we couldn't foresee what's going to happen. What is the bad thing about that? It's like when somebody invented the TV, right? And they say everything's wonderful, but not everything is wonderful in TV. Verbling, for example, Verbling is very good, but it also can be very bad too, right? Well, some people can use it for different reasons too. I met a couple of people in Verbling. They were promoting terrorism in the chat room, and I was shocked. Yeah, I was shocked, and I stopped to them and said, "Go ahead, sorry, Caroline."
I've never seen people promoting terrorism.
Oh yeah, there's two guys who were talking, and they start talking about terrorism, and I say, "Okay, who are you?" And they say, "Well, we're trying to change the world." I say, "Okay, tell me how you want to change the world." Well, we have done. Okay, no. Tell me what we have done so far. So it was, be specific. So Verbling can be used also for something negative too, even though the people who created Verbling was not thinking about that, right?
Well, in my opinion, they must have a code of conduct for everyone to follow, and it should be equal for everyone, you know?
Right. Yes, I agree with you.
In this way, we could know the way we should behave, and also things would be easier.
No, you're right. But we need to now try to create a system that is going to be, more obstacles for hackers. But hackers are going to exist now in the future. I mean, this is inevitable. I'm not trying to be pessimist or fatalist, but this is the realities, and we have to deal with it. That's it. So Carolina, don't cry, please. Do not cry now, please, Carolina.
I am highly sensitive. Sorry.
Right. Hey guys, let me interrupt there. I've got a few things I want to say. And my memory's forgetting some of them. Okay, so that comment about go through history, information's been there. Yes, but if you did spying before, it could take months or years to get anything. Now on Facebook, we're posting our feelings, our religious beliefs, our political beliefs, all sorts of things on there to our friends. But this is freely available to governments by simply asking. That to me is wrong. Now, a couple of years ago, I'll say a couple of decades ago, it was almost a crime to talk about communism. If I said I like communism, I was almost seen as a traitor in my own country. This was during the Cold War. But we were supposed to be in a free society. I should be able to say I like communism or be able to discuss it without any prejudice. Just as talking about terrorism doesn't mean I'm guilty of a crime. Right? It's freedom of speech. There are people that even hate us. Okay? There are people that hate us. But unless they do something to us, where do we draw the line? Do we allow people to talk about us? Now, in some countries we have hate crimes. Okay? And those are designed for people who are, for example, I'll use the example of the Holocaust and World War II, people who are hatred to entire races. But what if I wanted to say something bad about David? I didn't like David and I put it in my blog. Or let's do something a bit more realistic. I didn't like my leader, my president, or my prime minister. Should I not be able to say that? Currently in the world, well, in most places, we are only... The only time something is considered illegal if we've done an act. But a lot of the security and the legislation coming out now is going after people that might create a crime, that have said something. And they're enacting legislation to arrest people who haven't convicted a crime. And what I want you guys to think about as we talk about this further is this just the beginning of losing our freedoms? Do we want to give up, sacrifice our rights so we can be safe? Think about that. All right. So next we have, and let's see, so who went? We have David and Anna. So now we have Fajil and Jose. Hello, Fajil. Are you there? Fajil, if I don't hear you, I can't give you a turn.
Yes, I'm here, yes.
Excellent. Good. So I saw you came in a little late, David, or sorry, Fajil. So I'm going to give you 4 minutes with Jose to continue this conversation and what you think is important. So gentlemen, please go ahead.
Hello, Fajil.
Hello.
What do you think about this topic?
Yes, some people, I think, afraid this problem because if they have a lot of money, maybe finance, it's they should to save this. For example, if we talk about money, because we can talk about profile, about characteristics, about your different data about you, when you was born, where you live, what's your friends. For example, if you talk about money, in our country, a lot of biggest banks try to save your money, your credit card, because they create a special code, security code. At the same time, they try to save your money when they recommend to use spare credit card for buying in internet. for example. At the same time, a lot of
Yes.
intellectual hacker that can fight these the bankers. Yes. Okay.
Yes, I think the same as you. I think nowadays we are living in a insecure world. I last on TV some news about there are every day a lot of people working about doing the world more safety because
Yeah.
nowadays there are a lot of hackers that every day stolen information from the
Yeah.
from the everywhere.
Yes.
I
I'm not
think
afraid
the
this.
security is so important. Is the big issue that the world has because in the beginning, when internet started, it was all the world were happy because they didn't know that in 5 years or in 10 years the people are going to steal the information. The people is stealing the information, and there are a lot of people working in order to solve this kind of problem. Now, for example, on Berlin, every class is recorded. I don't know if this kind of information in some time could be used against us. I don't know.
Okay. What do you think about maybe? Do you know in these cases? Are you afraid of these problems? What cases?
Yes, sometimes I'm afraid about the security because when
Sorry to interrupt you.
okay.
Yeah, and you know what? We got to thank Anna for this because it was her idea to have a timer. And you know what? I hate cutting you guys off sometimes, but it's one of the best tools we have to ensure everybody has a fair amount of time. And I think it's a great idea. So Wellington thinks privacy is dead. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. I look at it this way too, guys. When you protect your privacy, who's going to have their privacy stolen first? The person with the weakest passwords or the weakest security, or those with the strongest security? My Wi-Fi, for example, I want it to be stronger than people around me. Then I won't be the target. They'll go after the easy ones. We just have to be careful. Know what we're going into. I don't use Facebook anymore because of that. I will go on once in a while if I see a few friends, and I'll just talk about some very simple stuff. Being aware that I'm being watched, or I might be watched. And that really helps me and what I put down. I also want to tell you guys about something that's open source, but it's, and not only is it free, but it's what we call protected mail. It's called Proton Mail. Some of you may have heard of it. And what Proton Mail does is it's fully encrypted so that nobody can actually see the contents of the mail other than the other person with a Proton Mail account who gets it. So I have one of these accounts. I haven't used it a lot yet because they don't have an iPhone app yet. But once they do, this will be my primary mail source. For those who don't have a Proton Mail account, they'll be sent a message. They'll be given a link to click so they can ensure that they can get to it without it being found out. So there are tools out there. There's a Tor browser. I don't know if this is still around, but it allows you to pretty much anonymously surf the internet. In Canada, this is legal. When I look for an airline ticket, or a flight. I want to go to England, for example, and I punch in, I want to go from Toronto to London Heathrow. I get a price of $700. I go back half an hour later, it's $750. However, if I go in through a Tor browser or I search through DuckDuckGo, I think it is, I'll see the price at $700. They track you. They can see you ask for a price, and when you go in the second time, they raise the price, offering you a different price than somebody else. So privacy can save you money as well. All right, so let's see, who was just speaking? It was Fadil and Jose, correct?
Yes.
Okay, see guys, I have a bad memory. I wish it wasn't, but you know what? For those of you close to my age, David, you understand. Sorry for calling you out, David.
Excuse me?
I'm sorry, I gave out private information I shouldn't, but I wasn't specific.
Excuse me, what did you say?
You're 29, aren't you, David?
I can hear you very well, I'm sorry.
All right, so next we have Wellington and Raphael. Gentlemen, you guys have 4 minutes. Go ahead, please.
Rafael?
Hello?
Hi. Rafael, I think, like I wrote, the privacy is dead. I think our informations are on the hands of many people, the government, and stores, Google, and other companies. What do you think? Do you believe you agree with me?
Yes, I agree with you because unfortunately, yes, privacy is dead. I remember that Simon mentioned something about freedom, and I like to reply a question: freedom for what, or which type of freedom? Because unfortunately, people are getting addicted to internet and Facebook. Of course, it's so much easier to do things online, but and I don't know. It's at least mentally or at the mindset we can define this as a kind of slavery because they literally, indirectly force you to do something online instead of doing something physically. So this type of so-called freedom, but what price? I don't know. It's really if we think that way, we're not really free to do something everything we want on the internet. We are being indirectly forced to do something. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think now we have to matter about how this information is used. Like Adela wrote, and we think there are two sites about how to use this information. And we can discover the people involved in terrorism. We can use this information to good things, and I think I believe that how this information will be used are maybe is in our hands through the vote. Choosing better politicians, and maybe we can choose the companies to buy to buy things from companies that spread our information. I think now not only the companies have the power. We can use the power, we can use the information, the people can use the information and do good things with it.
Yes, because since we started if we think, firstly, internet was developed with military purposes. It's a way to decentralize the government and decentralize the taking of decisions. The leaders we could stay apart and take the decisions. So I believe this can be used as a kind of weapon. Like every weapon, we can use it either for good or bad purposes. So that's one of the reasons. Yes, I believe that we totally agree that we must be aware of everything we put on the internet because it might be used against us in the future.
Yeah, but I think we have to think about our power. We have the power.
All right, now this is where I have to do the walking because I'm thinking a lot. It helps me. So I posted about total freedom. Now, total freedom is anarchy. No one can tell us what to do. If I don't like Wellington, I want to go kill him, I can. No one's going to punish me unless somebody else decides they want to do the same thing. So when we talk about freedom, obviously there are some constraints, some laws that we agree as a society, hey, we want to be free, but we want to punish those who kill others. Okay, so there's a law. So there's a restriction on our freedom. We can't kill others. Is that a good idea? Yes. All of us think that's a good idea. Well, what about punching somebody in the face? Most of us would agree that that, again, is a bad thing. So, again, we have laws in most countries to prevent that. What about stealing? Well, okay, well, what if somebody's hungry? Right? There's some disagreement as to what counts as stealing. So, depending on what you steal in some countries, you go to prison, others won't. You might get a warning, you might do community service, you might have to go into a program, right? So we have different ideas on what freedom is in different countries. What we're talking about here today is more or less the freedom of expression, speech, and our privacy. Something up until the 90s we all thought we understood what we were free from. We thought we were free from people being able to come into our homes and look at our information. Right? Nobody should be able to enter your house and look at your information, but when we post it online, that's exactly what is happening. But because it's online, it's believed that, well, why shouldn't this be okay? Google thinks that. Instagram thinks that. Twitter thinks that. All these companies that offer you free services, you're the product. So by signing up for free and reading those terms and conditions, which change all the time, guys, those terms and conditions allow them to sell your information or make money off your information. So that's what you really want to think about. And I'm not just coming up with this topic because I want to fill classes and make some money. I'm picking these topics because they get you guys thinking. Get you to think and focus in English, which is the main goal of this class. And I like to pick interesting topics because it makes it interesting for me because I want to come to class and I want to teach. So we've only got 3 minutes left and I'm going to start to wind down. Unfortunately, I didn't leave enough time for each of you to have a final minute summary. But I want you to leave this class and I want you to think about this. Because there are lots of people who have their identity stolen or their breaches. In my life, I've had 3 credit cards that were compromised. 3. Or maybe it was 4. If I include debit cards, 4. Well, keep in mind, David, when you talk about freedom, and when you go online, you're giving away some of that freedom by accepting the terms and conditions of those free accounts, because you're signing a contract. And by not reading that contract and not being aware of what you're giving up, that's a problem. Some people who put their photos online in Instagram or other sites were shocked to find out later on that their photo of their disabled child was used in an ad campaign in a city. You can imagine how upset those parents were. So you submit your photos. Microsoft has an application where it'll take a picture of you and guess your age. And what they say is, in the terms, and I didn't realize this until I read the terms, and I got upset. I should have read it first. We may use your photo for marketing purposes or for other uses. Wow. Shame on me. Well, guys, it's now 11 o'clock. I'm going to let you go. I will be back here tomorrow morning with another class. I'm supposed to be picking up a new computer today, so I'll still have a computer to teach you on. Otherwise, if I don't have the new computer, then I'm going to be using an older computer where the camera isn't as good, but I can guarantee you I will be here tomorrow morning. Thank you guys so much for coming, and I hope you have a great day.
Thank you,
Thank
teacher.
you.
Take care.
Bye,
See ya.
Simon.
Bye. Bye, guys.
Thank
Bye
you,
bye.
Simon.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
See you
Bye bye
tomorrow.
everyone.
Bye.
Thank you, Simon. Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.